Inmates are dying while Mississippi prisons are on lockdown. Within less than a week, 5 inmates have been killed at South Mississippi Correctional Institution, Mississippi State Penitentiary in Parchman, and the Chickasha County Regional Correctional Facility. A 54-year-old inmate died this week at Mississippi's most notorious penitentiary, the 16th prisoner since late December to perish in the state's correctional facilities, where living conditions have been called inhumane and which have been beset by cell block murders, suicides, riots, and escapes. James Allen Brown, 54, a convicted murderer serving a life sentence at the Mississippi State Penitentiary at Parchman, died on Monday, according to the Sunflower County Medical Examiner's Office. Heather Burton, the county coroner, said there's no evidence of foul play, telling ABC affiliate station WLOX-TV in Biloxi that Brown, who began his term in 1993, was in the inpatient department and had been receiving treatment for a terminal illness. The cause of Brown's death is pending autopsy results. The death comes less than a week after the Department of Justice announced its Civil Rights Division Special Litigation Section is launching an investigation into conditions at 4 Mississippi prisons, including Parchman. DOJ officials said the investigation will focus on whether the Mississippi Department of Corrections adequately protects prisoners from physical harm by other prisoners, as well as whether there is adequate suicide prevention, including adequate mental health care and appropriate use of isolation at Parchman. The federal investigation is being conducted under the Civil Rights of Institutionalized Persons Acts, which gives the DOJ authority to investigate violations of prisoners' constitutional rights that could result from a pattern of practice of resistance to the full enjoyment of such rights, the DOJ said in a statement. Besides Parchman, the DOJ plans to investigate conditions at the South Mississippi Correctional Institution in Leakesville, the Central Mississippi Correctional Facility in Pearl, and the Wilkinson County Correctional Facility in Woodville. The DOJ probe comes roughly after 11 prisoner advocacy groups, including the American Civil Liberties Union of Mississippi, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and the Mississippi State Conference of the NAACP, sent a 23-page letter to the DOJ requesting a federal investigation. Since December 29th, 10 of the 16 deaths in the correctional system have occurred at Parchman, including 5 inmates who were fatally stabbed or beaten to death by other inmates, and 3 who died by suicide, officials said. The problems at Mississippi prisons have attracted the attention of hip-hop artist Yo Gotti and music mogul Jay-Z, who supported a federal lawsuit filed last month on behalf of the 29 Mississippi prisoners who accused state correctional officials of doing little to stop violent outbreaks. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, don't forget, share the video. I think you're going to like this one. We're going to get into some pretty serious things that have been going on in the feds in Mississippi. But I got a special guest. I'm going to let Ace introduce yourself, man. Tell the people who you are, tell them where you're from, how old you are, and talk a little bit about, your time in prison and a little bit about your experiences, brother.
My name is Ace, 31 years old. I just did 10 years in federal prison. Essentially what I did is went to the room at the wrong time and for a conversation that was already taking place, and ended up getting 10 years for it. But in that 10 years, I studied over 30 fields of science, studied philosophy, art, history, poetry, wrote hundreds of poems, so really I feel like I spent my time wisely. I wouldn't even take it back now if I could. But also, it's still traumatizing psychologically to go through that kind of shit. But we're back now,
Yeah, man, that's what's up. So, how old were you when you went to federal prison?
21.
21 years old. What was your sentence?
128 months.
Was your brother your co-defendant or no?
Yes. Yeah, we ended up together in Texarkana for a while, about 3.5 years.
And I had interviewed your brother, man, about a month and a half ago, I think, and I helped one of your guys' co-defendants, Sharice. I wrote her clemency petition, and try to help Carter Jackson out, come from convict life, try to help her get out. I wanted to, we're going to talk a little bit about when you left the feds and you went to Mississippi, and like a week ago, you seen someone almost killed. We're going to get into that in a minute, but I want to talk about what it was like in federal prison. A 21-year-old, you're on your way to federal prison. What are you thinking in your mind?
Really, I don't know. I was just waiting to see what it was. I take everything, every situation, whatever comes my way, I kind of take it as it comes. I prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and kind of just went in there with that attitude. I went to this thing called the Brave program in Beckley, so I'm, of course, nervous. But when I got off the bus, went in there, it's just paintings all over the walls. It's a bunch of youngsters, and it was really not even playing politics yet for the first year I was there, because nobody had been in prison before. It was all first-time offenders. So it was actually really cool. We just in there beating each other up, and fucking cooking. It was kind of great.
Any violence at that prison in Beckley?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I said, I was first, second week there. I was walking around the track with this guy, Tony, and I came around and saw these Mexicans over there violating one of the people, and they were stomping this guy's head in. And, my first reaction in my heart is, I got to help that guy, but I knew I couldn't. And so we just kept walking, trying not to even look that way too much. We went, it's a third of a mile track. We walked another third of a mile, came all the way back around. They were still stomping that guy. See, the cops, seeing it was a group incident, there's only 4 of them stomping his head in, by taking turns. But they took about 25 minutes to put all their gear on to get there. By the time they got there, he was gone. He was just having seizures and full of blood pouring out of where his head used to be. He was definitely dead.
You were only 21 years old and seen this.
Yep. I seen a guy get hit by a big stone. Slashed a guy in the face in front of the chow hall. I stabbed him a few times.
Do you think
there wasn't a whole lot constantly because it's political. Usually things have to go through the chain of command before it can happen. But on the East Coast politics, if you have a one-on-one problem with somebody, you can pretty much call them out. So things did happen.
Did you ever have to get involved in any type of physical altercations while you were there?
I beat a guy up twice, beat 2 different guys up. Over 10 years, 2 fights. That shows you how sweet federal prison is. In the state facility I was just at, it's just a processing center. I didn't even go to prison yet. I'm seeing fights every day. People are getting smashed out constantly.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, because I know something happened over there like a week ago, right? 10 days ago, where this dude was cutting hair. I actually read something about it, I think, where your brother had sent me a clip on it. Tell me a little bit about what happened over there, man, in Mississippi, and who was involved and how that happened.
So we got a good friend, Justin, and he has pretty money. His family constantly sends him money, and he had him send money to his friends folks that came from the county jail with him. So since the guy was taken care of, he was good. He didn't really need anything. So he was really good at cutting hair, and no one on the unit knew what they were doing. They were constantly fucking shit up. Haircuts were ridiculous. And so this guy started cutting people's hair for free just to help them out. And was this crazy dude, he's a gangster. He came by, and this guy had 2 weeks left before he goes home. And he'd been walking around with his broomstick hoping to get somebody with it. So he always dignified his broomstick. He was a sick fucking guy, And so he comes up to him while he's cutting this guy's hair. He's in the middle of a haircut. He's just giving him a shave. He's not doing a complex fade, but he's giving this guy a shave. And says, "Hey, man, you got to pay me. This is my zone. You're making too much money cutting hair, so you got to give me my cut." He says, "I'm not even charging anybody." He's like, "Watch your bitch ass mouth." He said, "You got to pay me anyway." And the dude was like, I can't pay you. So he said, "Okay." He walked off and got that broom and came back and smacked him right in the eye while he was still cutting the guy's hair. And there's a plastic guard on the broom, and it broke and stabbed into his eyeball. And he just was wrapping him. The guy kind of tried to fight him a little bit, but everyone stood around, and as soon as he swung, 20 guys came in and knocked him down and started stomping his head. And he was hitting with the broom. And I was sitting over there, and I wanted to jump up and try to help him, but I couldn't. It's one of those things, another time where your instinct is to try to help somebody, and you'll get killed if you just think about it, And what's crazy is that he was an affiliate. The guy that got beat up, he had like 5 brothers there that sat on the beds and watched him get beat nearly to death. They didn't even help him at all. They could have shared that ass whoop. I bet it wouldn't have escalated his head, But
let me ask you this, right? This was in Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
So now in Mississippi, this dude that gets hit, what is he, an Aryan Brotherhood gang member or something?
Yeah, absolutely.
And who are the dudes that jumped on him?
Gangsters.
What, the gangster disciples, GDs?
Yeah, GD.
So now he's in this Aryan Brotherhood gang, and these dudes are sitting around and they're just watching him get beat and don't help him?
They do shit. And then this gangster walked up to one of them that was standing by my rack, well, like on by the wall. He said, do you have a fucking problem with what just happened? He said, no, I don't have a problem with it. I would have said, yeah, I got a big fucking problem with it. That was fucked up. You know it was. But they're so scared they wouldn't tell the truth. You know what I mean? I told him, I said, that shit like that would, I mean, I'm not even involved with it. I told the guy, I said, that shit like that would have never happened. Because I ain't never seen nobody jump into the race. That's crazy as fuck. You know? So I can't believe you guys can just one-on-one people, you know? They said, shit don't work like that. There's no fucking one-on-one. All right. You know?
Yeah.
That's what it is, you know?
Let me ask you this, though. So, this is probably why, like, the California AB, they got their own politics. I mean, they're the original, they're the brand. That's probably why they don't accept dudes where dudes are like, hey, man, I'm an AB from Mississippi, or I'm an AB from Ohio, and they look at these dudes like, because these dudes are sitting around while these dudes are jumping their homeboy, they're in a gang. What do you mean you're in a gang? Why are you in this gang? Are you in this gang because you're scared?
They want to be protected. They don't want to help someone else. They're just scared, you know? All it is.
And you being, I mean,
something like that. I can understand it.
You were on a probation violation, probably waiting to go home, but what were you thinking when you were sitting there? You said you wanted to help him. What made you not get up and help him?
20 guys stomping him in the head and me realizing I'm the only one that's even thinking about helping? Yeah, I'd be dead too. I got a family to go home to. You know, my brother's got things we got to do. Family's been waiting on me for 10 years. You know, I can't throw it away. So it's the way it is, you know?
I understand that. So this dude that got jumped on, right? He said he was trying to fight back at first?
Yeah, he tried to grab the broomstick from him and everything, and it just didn't work out for him. As soon as he tried to fight back, they jumped in. They were going to as long as he wouldn't fight back, he could keep getting beaten, but the second he fought back, it was 20 of them. You know, there's no cops around ever. They're not in the tower. When they do come around, it's just to yell at us about putting our hands behind our back while we're walking down the hallway. So the guys walking down the hallway with broken jaws and busted eyes, and they don't say nothing about that. They don't care. There's a guy there right now. He was a sex offender, so what they did is they pulled him off his rack, 2 sex offenders same time, pulled him off the rack and whipped their asses bad. Brought him in the shower, made him clean up. When they came back, they told him, either we're going to stomp you motherfuckers out or we're going to fight each other to knockout. So they're sitting there fighting and and good probably 8 minutes, just beating the hell out of each other. They were just can barely stand up. And finally, the big one, he goes to just one swing, put everything he could in, and almost fell to the ground, hit the guy in the jaw and shattered his whole jaw. And you can see his face just sat down. He fucking dropped to the floor. And they told him that he can't get help. But he went out and got help anyway. They didn't beat him up again for it. But when he went to the cops, they sent him back to the unit. They didn't help him at all. After he just gotten beaten down, they sent him right back in there with the lions, you know. And he sat there for a month now. He's still in there with a broken jaw. And all they're doing is giving him some Nestle boost. You know, they told him, oh, give us 2 more weeks and we'll get you fixed up. That was a month ago. They keep telling him every week, oh, 1 more week. Well, they weren't just saying to heal. So once it's healed, they say, well, we can't help you because you're healed. You know, it's really what it's coming down to. You know, they'll be permanently damaged because they refuse to help. They're more worried about you putting your hands behind your back walking in the hallway than getting medical attention.
So a lot of corruption in that system, right?
It is extremely corrupt. They're Cashapp and the guard. The guard's the ones bringing everything in. They're meth and everything in them up. You know? I've never seen such corruption because the feds is centrally controlled by the whole federal government. It's got a lot of oversight. You can always write higher levels to get investigations on it. The state,
yeah,
you can't write these people up. They're the ones you have to write. You have to write them up, give them the paperwork, and they have to turn it in. They're never going to let that happen. You know?
Let me ask you this though, so I got a clear understanding, and the viewers do as well. So these 2 sex offenders, they had to fight each other.
Yeah, after they got jumped, then they had to fight each other to knockout. And they just weren't going down. They were just beating each other senseless. And eventually, once that guy's jaw got broke, he fell on the ground. They let it stop. And he stayed in the unit. The other one called out. It took him another week to let him go. And the other one, he stayed.
So let me ask you this. Were they white sex offenders, black sex offenders, Hispanic? What were they?
One was a black guy, and one was half native and half black. The mix, you know. He's a country boy. And he did some messed up stuff, so can't feel too sorry for him. But still, the level of cruelty necessary. It's like the punishment is having your life taken away. That's the punishment itself. All the extra stuff, it's just we punish ourselves by creating these negative environments. It's not even necessary. All the strife that goes on in prison is created by people that claim that there's problems, but there's not actually problems, so they create them. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of situation.
Well, so who sanctioned this fight? Was it the cops that said they had to fight each other? Was it the other inmates? Was it what gang?
The gang members got together. Gang members run everything. They tell you what phones you can use, everything.
So when you walk in there, you're a white dude. You walk into this Mississippi Department of Corrections, that whatever units, transit, whatever. When you walk in there right away, are the dudes on you like, hey man, what's up? Who you with?
Who are you? Where are you from? Who you're affiliated with? I say, I'm a civilian. I ain't affiliated with nobody. They said, I can accept that. I said, I just did 10 years with feds. I'm on my way home. They said, okay. They had respect for it because I just did a bunch of time, you know what I mean? And I know how to stay out of the way. So I sat down with the different housemen and talked to them and, you know what I mean, built some connections. I didn't have any problems. It's still a stressful, the environment feels stressful. Just being around that kind of cruelty and, it's kind of insanity. People's beating on walls all the time, all day, yelling and that. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, it starts. Pretty crazy.
Very little respect, it sounds like, right?
No respect. You'd be sleeping, and God would be sitting right next to your back yelling. They'll sit there all night, 3, 4 in the morning. But everyone's trying to do their bit. They're not worried about you. I don't understand it.
Let me ask you this. How long were you in that place?
From October.
Okay, so you were over there for about, 2 months?
Yep. It seemed like a long 2 months, too.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, living like that, it probably seemed like forever, right?
That was cool, the feds have got great food. They eat fucking chitlins, I don't eat y'all. If you like chitlins, I'm sorry, I don't eat fucking chitlins. It's disgusting. I was like, I'm starving to eat this shit. Eat this dry ass rice. There's not a flavor of anything. It's just sucked. I'm used to eating pizza and chicken and all kind of great stuff. They said, we had chicken day on Wednesday. I said, oh, great. I go in there and said, little baby chicken. You know what I mean? I used to tell my buddy Magic, I said, we're going to get that pollo, you know what I mean? That big chicken. I got there was a little polito, a little baby chicken. God damn it. God, me every time. That scene one time I was going through the line, I see somebody big piece of chicken. I said, they give me some grilled chicken today. I got this little bird, man. Look like the one I gave the shovel one time when I was working on the line. Brother, from his line service, and that's how we used to punish the mothers. We see him coming through, and I put all the bad pieces of chicken to the side. And one time there was one that was fried. It was so tiny and hard and crispy. When I threw it on the tray, went, that's right. I said, oh shit. I laughed so hard as soon as it hit the tray. John looked at it and started laughing. The cop looked over my shoulder and seen it, and he busted out laughing, couldn't help himself. The dude was so mad, he stormed out of the shower. And the cop said, man, I would have made you give him another piece if you would have said something. But he stormed off too fast. I was like, man, he did some bad stuff. He was like, I agree. I can't say that, but I agree.
Yeah. Listen, I want to ask you a couple other things, right? Related to that. First, I'm going to say this, bro. I don't agree with you about the federal prison food, but we're going to talk about that in a second. I mean, compared to Mississippi, maybe it was great, but, I didn't
think it was awesome until I got back in Mississippi, and I was like, wow,
Yeah, because in the feds, man, I like the chicken was always raw. The hamburgers were pink slime. Now, I mean, back in the day when I first started, the food was good, and then it just progressively got worse.
Texarkana was always great. Santo wasn't as good, but Texarkana was. The food was great. We had a good food service lady.
Well, that's what it comes down to. If you had a good food service lady, then maybe the food was a little bit better. But the places I've been, it just got worse and worse.
And we kept messing with the menu, trying to diversify it whenever the thing we had was fine.
So now,
get some ideas.
So now you mentioned the word moe. Some people are like, what is a moe? Tell the people what a moe is.
Well, a choma is a child molester. It's the way we're used for molester, somebody who's done some terrible, unspeakable acts and probably deserved the death penalty rather than club fed with a bunch of other ones that can sit around all day and, play Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. Read a bunch of weird little comic books together. That's all they really do. It's really not a punishment for them. They were saved because in the world they had nobody. From there, and they got 1,000 of them just like,
Isn't that crazy? Like every prison you go to, that certain group of people, that's what they do. They read comic books. They play Dungeons and Dragons. They all got friends now. They seem like they were like introverts, people that just sat around in their own house, didn't associate.
They're intelligent. Almost all of them are pretty intelligent people. So there's a pathology there, and I've been investigating, trying to figure out exactly what it is. And I think it's just that they, like you said, they're introverts and they didn't really socially bloom, and it caused an arrested development. Maybe they're stuck in this, pubertal years in their mind, and they just never made it past that. Never been around adults enough and communicate with people to connect on that level. So now they just, I guess, connect better with young people, and so they think that they're young, but they're not.
Yeah, it's almost like they got a mental capacity of a child. I mean, the ones that I've seen.
Yeah, they are very childish. Even the old ones, they're just, like I said, they're just stuck there, but knowing that there's a pathology is conflicting for me, because I feel like if you hurt a kid, that's for life. That kid got, you know what I mean? Because life sentence for the kid, life is a death penalty for the molester, you know what I mean? An eye for an eye is kind of the way I see it. But it's not like that. It's like, oh, we should really think that they made a mistake. They make a mistake as a sickness. Like, when I see Latina girls, I think, my God, look at that gorgeous little thing. I'm supposed to like Latina girls. Guess what? We don't like them anyway. Them dudes are kids. They're always going. You can't stop somebody from liking them.
Well, I'm going to say this. I seen the same things that you've seen. A lot of people that are watching the show, they don't really know. You know what I mean? They probably never, they never experienced being around those type of people. And unfortunately, man, towards the end of my bid, I ended up in a low. I ended up in FMC Lexington. And, they were a different class of people of their own. So let me ask you a little bit about your upbringing, man. What was it like, man? What was your upbringing like? Your family life when you were a kid?
Well, we didn't have a whole lot, but I loved everything I had. You know what I mean? I had good friends. I didn't really, I never really wanted too much in life. I felt like I had everything I needed. When I was alive, I had my friends, I had my brother, I had my family. Pretty simple as far as that goes.
When all this stuff happened with your brother and you end up in federal prison with all this time, were you shocked? You were just a kid, man.
Oh, it was impossible to even believe it, really. It doesn't even hit you. So unjust. Take a long time to really sit in what they've done to you, you know what I mean? So throughout the years, you'll sit there and be like, man, I've been going all these years for essentially nothing. There's people that have committed real crimes, really hurt people, do mess up stuff in their home. They go back and forth, especially state facilities. The feds will just throw you away forever. No review. They don't try to determine if you're trying to better yourself. Like I said, I studied over 30 fields of science. I studied art, philosophy, history. I've gained a significant education in this time period, and I didn't need any help outside to do it. I didn't need the correspondence from bureaucrats at the college to tell me what direction to take. I really figured things out in a systematic way, down to subatomic particles all the way to the formation of galaxies and the warping of space and time, and understand all of it now. And, so I see the world in a whole different way. I realize that, if this didn't happen, I couldn't have done that. But I do think the system is really blind. Everyone talks about prison reform, but they don't know what needs to be reformed. It's not that people are getting punished too hard. It's that the people that need to be punished aren't really punished. The people that are getting punished didn't necessarily deserve it, because prosecutors are more concerned with like, it's supposed to have a system where people get together and they say, hey, did what this guy did deserve serious punishment? Is this a bad person that needs to be taken out of the society? There's none of that. They just say, we don't like you. We're going to make some money on this, I guess, get some budgets, secure some long-term. Have the taxpayers pay their bills forever, and so they create this system. It's a leech. The government is a leech upon the people, and you can never centrally plan everyone's lives, and that's the whole goal of the government now. It's just a top-down plan, everything we think and do, and every interaction. And when something breaks down, you say, well, what about this? When this happens, what do I do then? They say, well, it's not my job. Ask somebody else. Well, who? They give you a number, and you call, and you're going to be on something like an automated service, and it's going to go on and on and on, because there's really never a solution for a bureaucrat, because you can't, like I said, you just can't plan it out.
You know, Ace, I sometimes say that to my wife. I say, hey, man, this stuff's all a scam. The shit that they're doing, rehabilitation center, you got to call this person, you got to talk to that person. I had a guy that was close to me. He went to a rehab center, tried to get in. They're like, oh, you can get in if you pay for it yourself because you're not actively using every day. He's like, dude, I was just getting high for the last week and I've been clean for 2 days, but I need help. They're like, nah, we're not going to help you. I mean, there's just so much bullshit, and it's all taxpayer dollars, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're getting taxpayer dollars. Why do they decide who gets helped or not?
So you come across Ace as kind of a guy that is a little educated, right? How old are you now?
31.
31. What are your plans moving forward?
Well, me and my brother are going to build a truck company. We're going to start a broker service. We're going to use the money from this broker service to this trucking company to diversify our portfolio, get some mini stores, 4 places going. Figure that if we allow people to lease their trucks under our agency, we'll get a percentage of their loads, everything they do forever. And then we'll broker those same loads from another LLC to that company, and we'll get a percentage on that side too. Essentially, what I hope to do is train and hire people to run this system for me. So I essentially create a passive income. My brother can get the fuck out of this country is being taken over by communists. You know what I mean? Because people don't realize, they don't know what communism is. They listen to people say, oh, you get free stuff, it's all easy, it's great. Nothing's free. You become a slave. And I'm not going to be enslaved. I've been under the thumb of bureaucrats for 10 years, and I don't want to listen to another word they have to say. They can't solve problems as easy as I can, and they're not going to solve them. So I don't need them solving my problems for me. If I want healthcare, I'll pay for healthcare. If I want school, I'll pay for school. I'll buy the books. I'll figure it out on my own. And I'm going to go to the country and train my own children. I'm going to get them out of that brainwashing shit, because people these days, facts don't even matter. There's no truth. It's feelings and emotions. You got personal truth. There's no personal truth. There's just reality. And you either accept reality for what it is. And a lot of times we are the problem. We create our own problems. We create problems with others. We either accept that or we just live in a fantasy land. So I think rather than just find a place to go, some tropical country and sit on the beach and build a nice house, enjoy the time we got with our family, and have some kids, find a good woman. That's it.
So look, man, you know what? I'm glad you said that. Like, there's so much distortion out here where people don't deal with reality, man. Like, there's certain things that I don't comment on because, the things that I do, I own a paralegal company. There's certain things I just won't comment on. You know what? Because I guess I have to be now, quote unquote, politically correct. But I'm glad that you said that, because so many people don't see reality. They think they do. They think what they're seeing is reality. They think what they say is reality. And it's really not, man. And they're not focused.
That's kind of the way it is. I think maybe it's easy for me to say this because I've been forced to face some pretty harsh realities for a long time now on a daily basis. And I guess people don't look around the world and see what it really is. They just kind of live in a bubble. It's kind of like people are walking down the street in a city, and they got their phone, they got a pocket full of money, and they're walking down the road. It's nighttime. They're just used to being able to travel freely. They don't think nothing of it. Really, there's people out there who have nothing. They see you walking around everything, and they think, why is no one's around or they'll stop me? There's sharks out there, and people don't see it. So it's easier to live in a bubble than to feel unsafe at all times. But sometimes I think it's good to recognize that you're unsafe, because then you'll know where to seek safety. You'll recognize the safety you have when you do have it. And that's when you come to value your friends and family, the ones that actually got you in this world, instead of running out there to some nonsense.
Hey, so let me ask you this. Do you think prison affected you mentally and emotionally in any type of way?
Oh, yeah. See, when you go to prison, you got so much time, it's like you're unmoored in this sea of time. You don't know exactly where it started or where it's going to end. And every day is repetitious to the degree that it's just this endless series of Groundhog's Day. And you look back and you're like, who was I even when I started this? It crushes and grinds you down, under the wheels of this system. And everything you were is broken and destroyed and rebuilt. So you come back stronger. You're like, I can deal with this now. And then it breaks you down again. And it builds you back up and breaks you down again. So you're going through these cycles. Sometimes you'll find yourself in this cycle of just, I hate everything and I'm so tired of people. And you come back and you're like, it's not their fault. They're going through the same stuff I am. So I'm hating everybody. They're probably hating everybody too. So then you go through this. You get lucky if you get out on a good cycle and not a bad cycle. I think that's where it comes down to it. The system, if they had like some sort of psychological evaluation that could determine where people are and know when to let them out, because criminality is really a culture. People convince themselves they don't have options because they don't choose to learn things. So if you're poor and you can't do anything, you can go to like an HVAC class. There's free VT classes. You can learn the HVAC or welding. If you don't learn to weld, you can immediately get like $40 an hour. From nothing to $40 an hour. It's pretty good. All you have to do is spend a few months in a class. You know what I mean? The world's full of opportunities. I think people are scared to take the initiative to find those opportunities. So criminality is a culture. We convince ourselves that we're victims. And that's where it all starts. We can't make it in this world because it's not fair. Well, you create the fairness. You create the opportunities. You go out there and get it because the future is unset yet. You choose to make it at any moment, by what you're doing now. And we're also laying down the past at the same time, which is very subjective. It's the way we look at it. We're making our reality right now, off of reality.
I mean, you said a lot you said a lot by saying a little, right? We do sometimes act like we're victims. We don't want to go out and get opportunity. There's all kinds of jobs where I'm from. People don't even want them. Like I own a construction company. You can't even find people to work. But yet you have plenty of people complaining, oh man, I'm not doing that for $17 an hour. I'm not climbing on no roof for $20 an hour. I need 30. So I'd rather just stay home and be broke instead of going out here and getting a job.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think these phones are so distracting. I know that I've only had mine for a couple days now, and it does so much stuff. You do stuff for hours just looking through that. I don't have anything set up yet. I don't have any social media. I've got one Facebook page. I forgot, what I mean? I can't even really figure out how to use this thing. It's been so long. But every day I'm figuring out some new stuff. And so I can imagine that people get trapped in those things. It's harder for them to face the day when there's so much other stuff they're trying to figure out.
Yeah, let me ask you. I want to ask you about that, man. I want to go back to the jail a little bit and then ask you about, when you get released. When you go to that jail in Mississippi, it's shocking, obviously. You just came from a federal prison. Now you go into this jail in Mississippi. So you leave federal prison, you go over to state prison, the state facility. You see dude get stabbed in the eye. You see it's a whole different atmosphere. Are you thinking like, damn, I might not even make it out of here and I'm supposed to be home?
Yeah. So, So I was writing cards for people and then just trying to help them get poems to their family for Christmas. And I'm thinking, man, I don't even want to do this anymore. Wasn't even charging nobody. This guy got beaten up for, haircuts for free. So I just stopped doing anything. Just kick back every day and let it go by. I don't want to help anybody at all because of that. It's just the way it is.
So let me say this, right? You end up over there, you could be doing poems and you could end up dead over writing poems because some other guy, that might be his hustle, right?
Yeah. I didn't see anybody that was doing it, but if there was, or if they just decided that I need to kick up to them, that's what it had for them, is that they decided that he should kick up whatever money he's making, So what I did is, the first thing I did was go get this dude JB, he was a gangster. I wrote him a poem for his wife, and so that was good. They weren't about to mess with me now. She's kind of like to write people poems, I guess, you know what I mean?
Crazy life. Are the white dudes over there just being disrespected, looking like suckers? They got nothing coming type shit?
Most of the white dudes are Sun City Royals, and they fight the blacks against other white people. So the few white dudes who are not affiliated are just kind of staying out of the way best they can,
So look, before we close, man, I want you to give a message. You come across as a really intelligent dude. I want you to give a message to guys that are on the wrong path. You went to jail when you were 21, got a pretty big sentence. What would you say to your younger self? What would you say to another 21-year-old?
I'd say slow down, and I'd say, the way you think and the way you see the world is a result of what you put in, because your mind's a mirror, and it reflects what you put in it. So, we take in all these cultural artifacts that are about violence and murder and, denigration of women, and so everybody's head's full of this nonsense, and they want to constantly disrespect and downplay women, and they want to constantly, talk about killing people and how if somebody disrespects it, they'll shoot them, and they want to sell dope, they want to be hustlers, and they want jewelry, they want all this shit that doesn't matter. When you lose your life, all that you think about is, man, I wish I had a good woman to love me, I wish I had my family, I wish I had a steady job. That's what I said last time I was thinking about it. I said, the dog was coming licking me. I'm like, God, stop licking me, you freaking dog. You know what I mean? I started thinking about it. I'm glad this dog's sitting here licking on me and bothering the hell out of me, because 10 years I didn't even have a dog. I had this fucking cool ass animal, friends with an animal. It's weird. We've conquered this whole earth, and all these innovations we've created has seemed to complicate our lives. The way we look at it, we make it more complicated, because we could be sitting around a fire all night scared of the animals that are about to come get us, and just hold and watch and hoping that a storm don't come and mess us up, or hopefully we can catch some food tomorrow to survive. Life was hard for humans. We didn't have medicines and things of that nature. We had stone tools and make fires, and life was really hard for our species, but we're geniuses. Our whole species is creators, and we've created this world, and now we just choose to give up. Like, we can't keep making it better. There's no limit to what we can do or what we can do. And we give ourselves the limits. If we can go from being, savannah dwellers to being dwellers of skyscrapers and moonlanders and laser wielders and all kind of crazy things, and you can't do. You just have to choose to learn. All the information is out there. It's free to access anything you can ever want to learn. Learn it.
I hear you, man. So, the moral of the story, I'm going to get ready to close the show, but hey, man, you don't have to be in prison. You just got to make the right choices, because making the wrong choices leads to, you watching someone get killed, or you being a barber and getting stabbed in the eye and losing your eye and almost losing your life, right?
Just believe in yourself, and you can get up there and do it. Whatever it is you want to do, you just got to take away the fear and take the steps. You start taking the steps, you might fail a few times, but you'll hear a lot of no's. When you hear that yes, you're on the way. So all you got to find is the yes. Sometimes it takes you 1,000 times, find the yes.
No doubt, man. Look, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. Appreciate you sharing your story, talking about, what happened over there with the barber. People need to hear that stuff. So, again, man, I respect you. I appreciate you. I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope you prosper, man. Blood on the Razor Wire TV, with respect. Until tomorrow, we're out.